She was robbed, she was cheated, she was left in the poorhouse. Now, if that sounds like a country music song, it's not. This is pure rock and roll story, and it's the way Alannah Myles, once Canada's most popular singer, sees her past. And now she's trying to change that tune by remaking the hit song that made her famous, and we all know it, Black Velvet. The question is, can Alannah Myles really go back to the future?
Mama's dancing with baby on her shoulder. The sun is setting like molasses in the sky.
It's one of those songs for the ages. Black Velvet. The sultry young Alannah Myles singing about Elvis Presley. In 1990, her self-titled album, Alannah Myles, sold over 6 million records and catapulted Myles into international fame.
What you want it to be.
The record also had other hits, such as Love Is. But her follow-up album, Rocking Horse, didn't sell nearly as well. And then, Alannah Myles literally dropped off the map. Fans around the world wondered what happened. For the first time in many years, Alannah Myles is willing to talk extensively on camera about her rise and fall, and to explain why, almost 20 years after it was a hit, she's not only re-recorded her song, but her new comeback record is called Black Velvet. Can the past really rescue the future? How do you answer to the question when people say, Black Velvet again, get over it, Alannah, move on?
Move on? From an iconoclastic song that brings joy and love and sex into everyone's... It was the stripper song of 1990? What the hell am I supposed to move on from? Greatness? I'm going to celebrate that greatness. I'm going to take that greatness and I'm going to say, I own this greatness. I helped to create this greatness. It's mine.
Is this a comeback?
I don't figure I ever left, but certainly I would be a fool not to recognize in the eyes of the public that I have been away. I was so unhappy with myself at the height of what I'd spent the first 30 years of my life, I spent dreaming about becoming what I became.
When Black Velvet first came out, and we'll talk about the next iteration, but, 8-9 million records?
Maybe even more. We'll never really know, will we?
Superstar. Was that hard to handle?
No. I was very focused, and when I had my feet up against the wall, sitting there for hours on end, years on end, listening to that first record while recording, I was making pacts with God. I was making visionary, creatively visualizing 9 million people buying my record. So 9 million people bought my record, and then some. So I think I knew it was my destiny. People thought I was arrogant because I didn't go, oh, wow! They didn't get the reaction, the humble reaction, because I knew it was going to happen. So it created this aura of arrogance, overconfidence.
You think you know all about me.
But that same overconfidence that brought her fame was also arguably the instrument of Myles' downfall. Myles says she naively signed a record contract with Atlantic that not only prevented her from re-recording her hit song Black Velvet for 12 years, but that left her cut out from virtually all the profits generated by her own records.
I had no business sense of protecting myself financially. I had none whatsoever. I was totally creative. Creativity was an outlet for me to prove to the world my wealth. And I forgot about Alannah. And I allowed people to manipulate me.
Who took advantage of you then?
Well, let's see. Where should we begin?
Well, that's
the lawyer got his bill paid but didn't make sure my cross-collateralization deal was settled. The record company made $160 million, and I still am paying back my portion of what it cost me to make those 3 records I made for them. Should we go on?
What did you get out of it?
Esteem, certainly notoriety. I've I've had to recognize what I did get out of it. And in answer to your very astute question, I'd have to say, love of the people.
But I expected after, when you see the sales records, that you would be living the rock star life. I mean, the mansion.
No, I was poor.
You were poor.
I was scraping by the barrel. There was times when I wondered how I was going to pay my rent.
So you didn't see a dime from
No.
So
I saw my first check in April Fool's 2008, my very first royalty check. I paid off $7 million worth of expenditures that came out of my take. They billed me back. They made $160 million, but they billed me back. And it's legal. It's legal theft. It took me about 6 or 7 years to wake up and realize what had happened. Because you live in this world where no one really tells you the truth, and you think there's money coming, you think you're going to be rich forever, and the wheels shut down. And the naivety suddenly is replaced with factual evidence. And you're told these hard, cruel facts, and you're wounded and you're angry. And then you go through this stage of embarrassment where you can't face the cameras. You can't bring yourself to face the cameras to let them know you were such a fool that you allowed yourself to sell that many millions of records and have that much success in the world with this beautiful songs, particularly Black Velvet, that everyone in the world knows. You can go to Singapore and there it is, they're karaokeing it in the bar, but that you don't have the money to pay your rent. So it was a shameful thing for me.
it was. So you were mad at yourself too.
Yeah, I was.
But Myles wasn't just angry at herself, her lawyers, and her record company. She's also turned her anger towards the media. In 1998, she launched a lawsuit against the National Post over an article written by Finbar O'Reilly that, among other things, falsely claimed that Myles' career went off the rails due to her use of cocaine. The National Post settled the lawsuit out of court for an undisclosed sum.
Sunny, stay away.
It was some young kid they hired to write a story about me that didn't want to be there, and took some hearsay and wrote it in an article, and I went, this won't do. This is just not going to do. I would have let the Canadian press say anything about me, but not that I was a cocaine addict, and that's why I fought. I couldn't have those, that's just, to me, it's abhorrent. My show is called The No Blow Show. I need to get it in another country. I have children that buy my records, and adults, and I'm a respected citizen who doesn't do drugs, any kind of drugs. I don't drink beyond maybe I might share a bottle of wine once a month with somebody.
So you're
2 or 3
clean
glasses.
living.
Yeah.
And
No smoke, no cigarettes, nothing.
This is our world.
But that was not always the case. The self-described clean-living Myles, who used the settlement money from the National Post to finance her current comeback, admitted to us later in the interview that during the lowest points of her career, she did regularly smoke pot to help her cope.
Because I lost myself. And so the choices I was making, the people that I was drawing into my life weren't helping me. You know, because how could they? I needed to help myself. So I brought myself around to a sense of strength independently.
Were you ever on antidepressants and medication?
No, never.
So you did it all?
No. I did smoke pot for many years to keep myself numb. But I quit. The final trajectory was saying, okay, if you are going to really grow spiritually, then you have to not rely on an earthly substance, a hallucinogenic substance that's going to take you and make you go, wahoo! You have to really, because I'd quit for, a year and a half, 9 months to a year and a half, because of the touring and this and that, and then I'd go, I'm boring. I would fall into this temptation that life is boring. And so I would search for a distraction until I finally realized that it's just a distraction, and that unless you can find something inside yourself to keep yourself going, how am I going to survive really in my own skin, grounded as I profess to be? So a few years ago I quit cold turkey, that's it. It made me nuts. I was like, but...
Did it really?
Oh, yeah. You have to be really, really strong. when the people turn you into a phenomenon, because you have to pay for being that phenomenon. And if you're in any way, shape, or form weak, or not grounded, or strung out, you're not going to survive. You're just not going to survive.
But after surviving her battles with her own demons, her lawyers, her record companies, is there anyone left for Alannah Myles to trust? Who's in the inner circle now after all that? I mean,
Kind and good people who deserve the success they're working hard with me to recreate.
are you married?
No, I'm not. No, that's been something, I've had to do all of this on my own, all the soul searching and all this mending, and I've had to do it all on my own by choice, because it's very difficult for a woman like me who is so determined and focused to remain a businesswoman, a record maker. It's so difficult to share that limelight with a powerful man who needs to have a woman cater to his needs. So I've already expressed myself as someone who isn't going to cater to anyone's needs. I'm not selfish, but why would I want to take the responsibility on of a love relationship that I know I can't give them what they require, and so it remains in utter conflict when I have work to do?
So love doesn't fit into the equation.
No, it doesn't. I've tried that. I wouldn't say I've failed. I would say I've succeeded in finding out that that's not what is meant for me right now. But I'm very hopeful about the future, because I don't want to spend my life alone.
So it's not like you've decided against it.
No.
Your love life.
I'm still capable of having children, for God's sake. And that may be.
Really? I don't know.
That may be.
Can I ask your age? Is that
I don't talk about my age just because I hate Alannah Myles' football number. I'm sensitive about it, but it's clear I'm not 33 and I'm not 55, so...
Okay, now I'm going to throw it out there, because this thing called the internet is out there.
I know.
Okay, so I have to do this. So I'm just going to read your reaction. I've heard and read 50.
Okay, I'll take that. I like to say I'm 69, but that's really not a very good number to see after your name. It's the only thing I'm cagey about. It's an old-fashioned thing, but it really has to do with the indignance of hating to see my name and a number.
If you were to describe Alannah Myles right now, if someone said, here's Alannah Myles 2008, how would you describe yourself?
Simply complex. And in that order. Simply complex. Happy with herself. Thank God. Thank God. And thank God I believe in Him. I'm very grateful for being alive and being somebody who can come back into people's lives with a positive message and a good, strong, grounded soul to deliver a proper example to the world, rather than one where I'm disheveled and confused and conflicted about everything.
If I were to ask you one song that is emblematic of who you are now,
I would have to say it would be Amazing Grace.
What do you give us a cut? Give us some taste of
Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound to have saved a wretch like me. I was lost, but now I'm found.
Thank you.
Welcome.